This is going to be your guide to base building after the Palworld Feybreak update. So yeah, aside from the NPC, we got a pretty good spot over here. Problem, it's kind of close to that structure over there. However, if you just go and test it out for yourself, you'll find you can build a base here, no problem. What I like doing is lining it up with this rock as though you're heading up over here. So you want to be about halfway in between the rock, a little up, and that should be good to not putting this all the way off of the cliff while having all three inside of it. Another really good thing about this base is that it has oil down here. So yeah, you do a little bit of terraforming, you make some paths for your pals, get creative with the base building, and this seems like a super duper cracked place to build a base. So if you're playing single player, that seems like a great place for your Hexolite farm, but what if it's already taken on a multiplayer server? Well, you can look around the map and you can find some areas that have 1 or 2 Hexolite, or you have Hexolite and oil next to it. How is base optimization going to evolve over time? You know, what bases with how much oil is pretty good for all of your production? Because at some point you just have thousands more than you can use, but it's also good to just have like infinite max resource production. So I think like setting up, getting at least 1 or 2 Hexolites pretty good. And then the rest of the map just has all kinds of places where there's double oil spots, stuff like that. Now that we have the mining stations, we don't need to build for anything else. There's even the quartz. So will we have Hexolite in the future? Who knows with that? And then we have sulfur and coal, so you don't need desert mines or anything special like that. Bigger ore mining site. But Hexolite also needs Chromite to be able to make the ingots. Now, you do get that semi-automatically, where you just send off pals to do expeditions and they can come back with Chromite. So the question is, like, how much of manual farming is going to balance into this on the base building? Do you just want to build bases wherever, as long as there's oil, like 1 to 2 oil for all of your bases? Do you even need a base in Feybreak? I think, like, the Hexolite automation's pretty good. And again, you can just kind of look and find different places around the map that have Hexolite and oil, usually like sandy areas, but also, as we saw with this base, there's oil and it's inside the forest. And then once interactive maps are fully fleshed out, then you can just kind of look and see the spots that you want. So I think there's going to be like a little bit more tech, a little bit more brainstorming as to like optimization for what you really want to do with all 4 of your bases. It also gets even crazier with the guild chest, because now you can move resources between your bases a lot faster, and then it's all of the ore mining base. Like, if you're level 55 plus into level 60, and you're just like, you didn't show a base. Well, how did you get past this without learning anything about, like, ore bases, or finding coal, or setting up in some of the other very desirable areas early on in the game? The infamous coal and iron mega mining base locations. So it's kind of like, okay, what's going to happen for the future of the game? If you're getting into Feybreak now, you're most likely established. I think doing a new playthrough now is kind of a bad idea, because like, okay, there's going to be updates, and unless you're forced to restart save because of a server or friends or something, I think it's worth waiting until like the full release of the game, just kind of mastering the late game stuff that you've already earned, instead of resetting almost 100 hours of progress every time Palworld does an update every couple of months. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing about base building from now on, is trying to work to solve like optimal base loadouts by the time the game gets a full release. And we don't know how many like smaller updates it's going to be until then. Many dozens of hours to actually get to the point where you're level 56 plus and able to fight and fend off the pals here, let alone build a base and establish on it. The planning is kind of whatever. Like, again, by that point, hopefully you have a jet dragon, even though it just became level 60, so we can fly around and scout. Again, using interactive maps and all the other things you've learned. So just kind of like, yeah, there's a killer location over here. If manual Hexolite farming is just fine for all the resources that you need, you've already spent a lot of time, so just spend a few hours getting all the Hexolite and most of the Chromite that you need. Maybe you don't even need to build a base inside of Feybreak. And again, this is just a spot of 3 Hexolite, whereas for the old iron bases, you're looking for 5 nodes or even more. So the passive production is nice, but there's not like a lot of crazy Hexolite spots. And if you already have like your 4 really built out bases across the world, I don't think it's worth like moving over to Feybreak, but maybe planning that into a playthrough that progresses to and beyond Feybreak. Maybe that's a thing. Or again, like now that the base building is super nice and you have more things to do with it, you can just, really the thing is just make sure all of your bases have oil, and that should be it. And that means you shouldn't need to fist fight over 3 oil spots, and maybe just need like 1 or 2 oil spots for your bases. And that also means like the energy production and the space these things take up gets kind of crazy. Oil rigs, once you get to the point of clearing those out, you can get oil that way just through a little bit of active play. Also, oil is obtainable through the expeditions. So now it's kind of like opened up a bit more, but it's also not as free as, oh, we have a Hexolite Mining Station number 2, so we just get infinite max super duper resources in the game. Just want to give you guys a little location and update as to what this changes for base building. And again, you can comment your thoughts down below. If you've done some more research trying to figure out like good optimizations on the base, or if you agree, like, yeah, I don't think you even need to build on Feybreak. And honestly, after thinking about it, maybe the best place for a Feybreak base is just at the entrance of a dungeon. So if you're just kind of hanging out, you don't have to go and explore for it. It's like, oh, dungeon respawned. Cool, let's go. I'd really like to know in my quest to solve this game and just kind of figure out how to optimize it as much as possible. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.